Good morning, people. Not long been awake, so you have to apologise me if I look terrible. I always look terrible. But so, what a great night of boxing, as I thought it would be. Dimitri Bivol is a fighting machine. He is an absolute machine, and he dominated that fight. Last night. Yeah, Ramirez, he just couldn't get going because he wasn't able to. Well, he had some success. I gave him 2 rounds. I gave him round 2 and round 8, I believe. I think. But yeah, everything else, in my opinion, he was dominated, and you could see he was reluctant to let his hands go in the end, because Bivol is those combinations. It's the same thing when Bivol beat Alvarez back in May. You know, there's just those combinations. He's so accurate, and he never seems to get tired. So yeah, I was really impressed with him. He will be fighter of the year. He should win fighter of the year, Ring Magazine and everybody else. He's my fighter of the year. I know we're only in early November, but I can't see anything else. Tyson Fury certainly won't get it, because the Chisora fight is a joke. I'll keep going on about that. I'm not going to mention it anymore, I promise. Not for a while, anyway. But Bivol, he's taken Zerdo's unbeaten record, and a lot of people have been bitching about Zerdo. I've noticed past few weeks. Oh, he's not fought anybody, not beaten anybody. Look, okay, it's been a few years, but he beat Arthur Abraham to win the WBO super middleweight title. Abraham's no bum. Okay, he did lose a fair few, to Froch and Ward and people like that, but he wasn't a bum. And okay, maybe the quality hasn't quite been there, but it doesn't make him a bum. And it seems to be the thing these days to run down fighters. Oh, he ain't fought anybody, he's a bum, everybody's a bum. And if you recall, before Bivol fought Alvarez, lots of people, the keyboard warriors, were saying what a bum Bivol was, and he was nobody, and Alvarez will beat him easy, and he's not in Canelo's league and all this crap, which is fine. But then they soon changed their tune when Bivol dominated him. I say these keyboard warriors, they don't know what they're talking about. They really, really don't. So, it's just one of those things, isn't it? That's the internet for you. But I enjoyed it. I think Bivol, the only fight we want to see now in that division is Bivol against Beterbiev. I think Bivol, as long as he doesn't get caught, because obviously Beterbiev, it's the knockout is the big thing. But I think Bivol, if he stays out of the way, I think he could probably dominate that on points. I mean, I think he could have stopped Ramirez last night if he'd really pushed for it. But he seems to be quite happy to go for the points victories, because he knows he's a machine. Yeah, he really is. And take nothing away from Ramirez, he's got a good chin, and he was very brave, but he was outclassed. I don't know where he's going to go now, really. Move back down to super middleweight, I suppose, because the only other option for him is to stay at light heavyweight and fight Beterbiev, but no, I don't think that's a good idea, personally. And the undercard was brilliant. Chantel Cameron, Northampton's own, she beat Jessica McCaskill. Now she's the undisputed light welterweight champion. I mean, she tired down the stretch, and McCaskill came back into it, but I think she Cameron built up such a lead that she won. She won. It was close on the cards purely because McCaskill came back into it in the second half, but Cameron did enough work early on to take that. So what's next for her? I'd like to see her move up and fight Taylor, Taylor move up and fight her. I think that'd be a good one, Taylor against Cameron, because I mean Taylor's already won a world. She's had the WBO title in light welterweight a few years ago. So I'd quite like to see her move up and fight Cameron. I think that'd be brilliant. Whether or not it will happen, I don't know. But it's the fight that makes sense to me, because both of them, they've cleaned out their divisions. So yeah, that's a big fight. And poor old Zelfa Barrett knocked out by Rakimov. That was a good fight. I wouldn't mind seeing the rematch. I don't think the result would be any different. I think Rakimov would get him eventually. But the fact that he was put down, Barrett put him down, and he was doing well. And then, whatever. I don't know if he did something to his leg or if he was just worn out, or I don't know. There was something a bit funny there. His legs seemed to go a bit weird. I don't know if he's injured or if he's just worn out. Be interesting to see the updates on that. But no, it was a good night of boxing, and David Morrell beat the Kazakhstani chap whose name I still haven't learnt. I do apologise. Sounds very ignorant of me. But yeah, because he's the WBA regular super middleweight champion. Whether or not, he hasn't actually beaten any big names, obviously. I mean, he's only young. He's relatively unknown as well to the casual fan. I'd like to see him step up and fight some decent people. I don't know who, really. But he needs some names on his record, and then I think the logical step is then Alvarez, because Alvarez is the WBA super champion. Right, he's got all the other belts actually. So whether or not Canelo would go for that, because I don't know what's next for Canelo really. I mean that would be the logical one if he's going to stay at super middleweight, is take on Morrell so he can take that belt and he can be undisputed WBA, because as I hate the WBA, as you know. This 2 championship policy is nonsense, and they can unify. Yeah, that would be a step forward. Unify all the titles. The 2 champions. Just have one, like they always used to. This has been going on for over 20 years now. It's nonsense. It's confusing as well. Even people like me, I follow the sport close, and I can't keep track of who's super champion, who's world champion, and all this nonsense. So if I had it my way, Alvarez would fight Morrell, and he'd probably win, because Morrell's only young. But it just clear up that little bit of confusion. Who's the WBA champion? Is it the super champion or is it the world champion? So that'd be a thought down the line. But I like him. I like watching him. I like watching Morrell. He's a very good. I like him. I'd like to see him step up, fight some better opposition, really. So yeah, it was a good night of fighting, really. Usually, if there's a close fight, I'll watch it again. But I didn't have a problem with any of the results. I mean, there's no need to watch the Bivol fight again. But it just seems funny, like straight away after Ramirez, I thought I won. Oh, stop it. You didn't win. I don't know if that's bravado when these fighters do that. I don't know if it's bravado or I don't know. They all seem to have to do it. It's very rare you'll find in a fight where they've lost a decision. It's very rare where they'll just say, "Yeah, I won. He won. Yeah, he deserved the victory." It's very rare. There's always like Alvarez initially after he lost to Bivol, I do believe he said he thought he'd won. He didn't, But there's no need. I mean, I will watch them again. I watch fights all the time, old ones, new ones. If I've got a spare few minutes, I'll stick a fight on. If I'm working out, I'll put a fight on to something to concentrate on. All sorts of stuff from old days, now, recent. I've got my favourite fights. I will do a video actually at some point saying my top 10 favourite fights. Not necessarily they're the greatest fights, my favourite fights that I will put on. if I'm working out, then just shove it on to watch. I mean, there's so many fights I've watched hundreds of times, but there's a few go-to ones if I'm in the mood. Oh yeah, go on then, shove that on. So I'll probably do a countdown of them just something to occupy me, really. So I hope you have a good day. I hope anybody in the UK enjoyed Bonfire Night last night. My dog was not amused last night, but luckily it didn't go on for too long around here. Actually, he was out of his mind at one point. Poor little thing. But it's one of those things you have to put up with. You know, fireworks are going to happen whether you like them or not. I mean, it's a tradition in this country, Bonfire Night. So, and obviously New Year's they go off as well. So I will do the book review on the war, about the Hagler-Hearns fight at some point. I finished reading that last week. So yeah, that's it really. Next week I believe Natasha Jonas is fighting. I forget who she's fighting. I think it's a unification fight. I'll have to double check. I've not really checked the schedule really. And I'll probably talk about that at some point. So you take care, people, and enjoy your Sunday, and I'll speak to you soon.